Americas to settle in. So him, his mom, they learned those different tribes. Mom went to the north.
Yeah.
Her husband was a barber. So they learned another language. Then they came to the UK, Wales, learned another language.
The reason I say that is like I've got a joke with Dammy that if Dammy settles down in the Black Country, which is the Midlands,
Wolves.
his children will have the accent.
They won't.
It is inevitable.
I believe they'll prefer my accent to local accents.
It's not happening.
Because I'm an intriguing guy. Look, Dan likes me. I call him Dan the man. Yes, he
Not
can.
happening. They're gonna get an accent.
I'm gonna tell them there's a guy Dan. He's gonna love you if you speak in his accent. So I'll teach them so they can just make you smile.
So the names of photographs of young people found guilty of a crime can be published in newspapers or used by the media. So that if they're found guilty,
Yeah?
I think it's true. If they're found, but if you're not found
Guilty, they can use your.
Yeah. No, it's false actually.
Really? So they can't use it.
This is young people. Sorry, I didn't read the
young
question.
People.
Yeah, youths. Yeah, obviously they protect anyone under 18.
Can't use your.
Yeah, and there's always it's kind of, yeah, it's.
Now there are limits. Like if the youth does something that you can't hide.
Only on occasions will a judge waive anonymity granted. So in a very, very serious crime.
Serious crime,
and it has.
Those things happen. I can't imagine.
And there's been some horrific crimes.
Yeah. There was a time there was even like a Nigerian boy. He was stabbed by younger kids in London, but they did show who the kids were, so you are careful.
Yeah. I think it's to protect, like, in the idea that when you're a child, you might do something that's criminal, but then because you're not cognitively aware, that when you get past 18, obviously, when we all know more, don't we? And we become adults, you need a second chance, rather than if you commit a crime in adulthood, even though you always deserve a second chance. You're more deserving of like the anonymity that grants.
Yes, I do understand that. Yeah. But it still depends on how you are and how you are planning to move on. Because some people don't want to change; they still want to be criminals.
Yeah. What was Edward Elgar famous for?
What are the options?
So it's musician, tennis, comedian, actor.
Actor?
Okay.
Musician?
He's a musician. Yeah, Elgar is famous.
I know no one knows, but Dan used to be a musician. He used to be a rock star. He has pictures. He won't show you, but he's shown me. So if you send me money, then I'll let you know.
Yeah. It was neither rock and there was no star at any point in any of that.
You know, someone can.
Both parts.
You know, someone can speak so much, but when you see them in action, it's a whole. You should see him with a guitar. I was gonna bring the guitar today, but that's for another recording. I have to ask for his consent. So if you
can. Not consent. Which of the following is not a British banknote? 50, 25.
25.
Yeah. Trick question.
Yes, it is. Some people only pay the card.
Where does the Scottish Grand National take place? Fife, Edinburgh, or St Andrews?
Edinburgh.
You're going to go with Edinburgh? I don't know the answer to this.
I'm just going to go with
there was a Scottish Grand National. And it was Air. We were both wrong.
What was it?
AYR.
AYR, Air. Interesting.
When did the UK join the EU? 1957, 1973, 1975, 1964.
64?
I'm going with 75.
75. It's probably 75, it's not 64.
73.
73?
Yeah, it was in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
We all see this. the reality is with this test.
It's so hard.
And how many have you got to get right?
1920 out of 24.
During the reign of Elizabeth I, a large fleet of ships was sent to England to conquer the country and to restore Catholicism. Where did the fleet come from?
Spain.
Spain, yeah. The Spanish Armada.
I think, was that Boudica or Boudica?
No, Boudica was the Romans.
The Romans,
yeah. So this is Elizabeth was Henry VIII. So Henry VIII is the guy that creates the Protestant National Church within the UK, within England. And then obviously the whole of Europe is controlled at this point by the influence of Catholicism and the Pope. and kings that are trying to please that faith. England is now the enemy of Europe because it's now separate. It's broke off.
Yeah.
And
That makes a lot of sense now.
And that's it.
With the whole Brexit, it's like going back to the old
mentality.
mentality.
And then Elizabeth obviously is aware that the Spanish king wants to take control again, get influence of Catholicism back in England. He sends a grand fleet of the strongest navy ever. But the problem is Britain is known for bad weather.
Yeah.
And just before they get up the French coast, there's a storm. That's a part of the navy. Some of the navy gets lost and goes towards Scotland, where the weather destroys all the ships. And then the small English navy that's there is known for one thing: their ships were faster and shorter, and in the bad weather,
they could maneuver quickly.
So what was left of the sunk a portion of their ships, and
strategic planning
and a bit of luck, which has always helped Britain. Like World War II, if it weren't for the bad weather, we probably again would have lost.
So now I think we should be contemplating that because climate change.
Okay, habeas corpus. Act. What was its purpose? That every prisoner has a right to a court hearing. Yeah, a salary for members of parliament, financial help for the unemployed, measures to improve the conditions of workers.
I think
prisoners to a court hearing. Yeah. Latin and the obsession with Latin and use of legal terms.
Yeah,
is a good indicator.
English was created from the Norman, French, and the
Germanic languages,
and the Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah.
I was hearing you here, and just so English is not original; it's a baby of other
languages.
Yeah.
What did Emily Pankhurst fight for?
Women's rights.
There you go. The right for women to vote.
When you said Emily, what else was I gonna say?
That's it. Okay, what is the proms?
Proms is those social events with kids. I didn't know it was the proms. I thought it was just proms, but it's the proms.
So the proms, yeah. So is it an annual event for Best British Group, Best British Solo Artist, an annual cultural festival with dance, music, art, largely in Welsh, an 8-week summer season of daily orchestral classical music concerts, light-hearted plays with music and comedy.
See that C or A?
Yeah, it's C.
C.
An 8 weeks.
8 week, yeah.
Yeah. So every day on, the offshoot of the BBC channels like BBC 3, BBC 4, you'll have these daily orchestra, and then this famous thing called the last night of the proms, and that is where they play all old British historical music, but a lot of national music. So it's they call it they have the sea shanties where they're all the old navy pieces. They'll play Elgar, who we talked about earlier, and kind of finishes with these old empire kind of orchestra pieces. It's an offshoot from that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about being a history teacher?
Maybe one day. I want to get older. What was Isaac Newton known for?
Gravity.
Yeah, easy.
Was he English?
He was, yeah. When did World War One come to an end? So 1922, 1918, 1945, 1943.
World War One?
World War One.
1918.
Yeah, that's it. And for anyone overseas watching this, if you ever do one of these tests, just know that they're obsessed with war. There's one thing everyone knows in British history, it's war. Yeah. Because there's so much of it. But World War One, World War Two, real big chunks of history.
The Crimean War.
But those two,
even the Civil Wars.
The Civil War,
that's Protestants and the Catholics.
Who built a wall in the north of England to keep out the Picts, who were ancestors of the Scottish people? So Boudica, Emperor Hadrian, Emperor Claudius, or Julius Caesar.
Claudius.
No, it's Hadrian.
Hadrian.
And it's called Hadrian's Wall.
Is that they don't tell you what it's called there, do they?
Yeah, so it builds, and it is, if you can still go there to this day. Me and Adam Tasker, colleague, we walked a bit of it early in the year. So it's a Roman wall that's built from Carlisle all the way across to the other coast.
Ooh.
And it was in its prime, it would have had forts and positions to stop any military kind of raids. And they weren't really military raids, they were kind of tribal raids from the north. And people would come and ransack a town. And
Not a raid,
yeah.
Like the Vikings, the ancestors.
Yeah. Again, war.
Savagery, the dish served cold.
Here we go. Which two universities participate in
Oxford, Cambridge.
You don't even know. That's famous globally, isn't it?
Well, they have Oxford as a dictionary.
Here we go. Does Britain have a written constitution?
No.
Technically, some would argue there is a constitution, the Magna Carta.
The Magna Carta.
But is it a written constitution? It's debatable. No. If you hit no, you're correct. But it's the closest thing Britain's got to
a constitution, but it's not technically.
And it's not even in English. So, but it's the last time we ever got round the table and thought we need to write this down. And we haven't bothered since. Yeah. So yeah, Dammy, are you able to get? This is the crucial bit. Will Dammy get residency? Let's finish the quiz.
No.
Dammy is getting residency.
Did I pass?
You have passed. You have got residency.
How many? 70.
Yeah, you did well. 79%.
Thank
Dammy,
you.
well done. Welcome to Britain. If this was the real test, I'd be welcoming you permanently and saying,
I appreciate.
There you go. But because this isn't the actual test, it's well done. It's just a handshake.
This does mean a lot.
Yeah.
It's gonna change me.
Yeah.
It's gonna change me. Cause then it's like
forever. Yeah.
you're born in a place that you don't work for.
Yeah.
But when you work for